Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah Ruth Savita, aka The Woman in Wool, and today we're at my mom's house and we have two different dogs guest starring. We've got Owen, the oldest dog ever. Right, Owen? He doesn't know. And then we have Scout, hi buddy, who is a shithead. I'm just kidding, she's not a shithead, she's just,
It take you that long to
and
learn?
unhinged, but aren't the best of us, huh? They're not Odie, they're not used to me talking into the abyss like Odie is. So one of them is deaf as a doornail, so he's fine. He's about 700 years old. And then one of them is freaking out because she thinks I'm talking to somebody. It's okay, Scout. Hey, leave it. So hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah, aka The Woman in Wool, and on today's video, we have a very juicy story. I love it. There's so much going on. On this channel, we crochet and we talk history. Why? Because true crime and makeup are oversaturated. Just kidding. It's because I'm originally from New York, which is where I am at today. I'm at my mom's house, and I currently live in Dublin, Ireland.
I love cocaine!
And you can think of this channel as a love letter to the incredible country that I've gotten to move to, and my little montage of things that I have learned coming from the land of Erie to the land of Era. You like that one? It's not mine. It's from the 2000 and something hit classic Luck of the Irish on the Disney Channel original movie series, which will become required watching if you are going to be watching my channel. Anyway, folks, today is a very special day because there is such a juicy story going on. I'm drooling. That's how fucking juicy it is. So let's jump into it. The other day, I was doing research on what to talk about, what to say, and I often go into these websites that are like Today in History, and there's one called Today in Irish History, and I was just perusing around, and then that is when I learned that on July 6th, June 6th, July 6th, we'll find out. And that is when I learned that Ireland had crown fucking jewels. That's right. We often forget that Ireland was part of the British Kingdom and was part of Great Britain and Ireland. Sorry, the vocab gets me every time. There's like 19 different words for Great Britain and Ireland, the United Kingdom, Britain, Great Britain, Ireland, Northern Ireland. Like there's so many. So you're just gonna have to forgive me because sometimes I fuck them up. And it's not that I don't know them. It's that they're all shuffled around in my brain like playing cards. Like all the yours and the theirs. So yeah, Ireland had crown jewels. And I know that we don't love to talk about that period of time, but we also love to talk about that period of time because it's a big ass period of time. Moving swiftly forward. The crown jewels were not necessarily a part of the royal family itself or from the king, I suppose, at that time. So it's a bit confusing as to why they're called the crown jewels, but the reason for that is because it came from the royal family. They donated these jewels and they were associated or linked to this aristocratic organization. And it was called the Order of St. Patrick, and there were quite a few orders like this. The Scottish one was the Order of the Thistle, and the English one was the Order of the Garter. And the actual name of it was the Illustrious Order of St. Patrick, that's its full name, and the last member of the Illustrious Order of St. Patrick died in the 70s. It was in the 1970s. I didn't write down the year because I was like, that's not important. Nobody wants to know that, but it was in the 1970s, and that's when the last member died, and no other members have been inaugurated since 1936, and it was founded in 1783, so about 200 years or so in active mode. This order was a chivalric kind of group, meaning that they were full of knights. It was mainly knights, only knights and sirs, you get it, knighthood. It was a knighthood group, and there was like an order of knighthood of like most knighted. I didn't look up too much of this because it's not important to the part of the story. I just want to give you a bit of history. So obviously no new members have been brought into it in Ireland since Ireland became independent. And so in 1936, that was when the last member was inaugurated because it was a very slow kind of gradual process into becoming the Republic of Ireland, which means that there are no more like knighthoods in that sense because we don't have a king to knight them, that kind of thing. You get it. But apparently this group does still technically exist. The Order of St. Patrick, or the Illustrious Order of St. Patrick, is still a group that is around, and King Charles is the patron for this group, right? Is that what it's called? Is the sovereign of this group. Just no one's in it. It's kind of like that club that kids would go to in the 80s who really loved radios. You remember that? You watched Stranger Things? They like the radio club. I don't think there's any kids in those clubs anymore. I could be wrong. Are there any radio club kids out there? Comment below if you're in the fucking radio club and you actually don't. Nobody under 18 should be watching my shit. I curse far too much. But I did not do too much research into the Illustrious Order of St. Patrick and its history and all that fun stuff. It's not a part of the overall story, but I did just want to dive into it a little bit because when I say crown jewels, it makes it sound like from the king or the queen and it was this royal association. It wasn't necessarily for the royals, but it was from the royals to this aristocratic organization, this chivalric organization. So it was the Illustrious Order of St. Patrick's jewels. It was the crown jewels. It was the jewels of the people who love the crown and are mommy's super special boy. And mommy's super special boys that love her. And so they get to get the jewels because mommy's special helpers get special jewels. Anyway, the jewels themselves. These bad boys were insane and looked like this. There was a couple of them, little brooches and pins and medals and stuff like that. This is a quote from dublincastle.ie. The Irish crown jewels consist of a star decorated with Brazilian diamonds, its center featuring an emerald trefoil and a ruby cross on a blue enamel background, a diamond badge, and 5 gold jewel-encrusted collars. The insignia comprised 394 jewels, mostly from Queen Charlotte's jewelry. Today, the Irish crown jewels would be valued at several million euro, obviously. We're talking crown jewels of Ireland, that Ireland as it was back then, that country pretty much does not exist anymore. Obviously, Ireland exists, the Republic of Ireland exists, and Northern Ireland exists, but this kind of overall British-run Ireland no longer exists. So these crown jewels are remnants of a country whose monarchy no longer owns them. And so it's not only would it be the crown jewels, it would be a piece of history to get these. And as I am alluding to, we don't know where these jewels are. They were stolen and never found again. But the story, fucking unbelievable. Like, can you imagine? There's one character in the story who is directly responsible for the theft of these jewels. And if that were me, I would literally, unironically, not hyperbole, be shitting myself because of anxiety. It has to be said, because can you imagine losing the crown jewels? What a dick move. Anyway, the crown jewels were put together in 1831 for the Grand Master of the Order of St. Patrick. So like the leader, the head knight of the Order of St. Patrick. And so this was done around 60 years after the order was created in the first place, because originally the Order of St. Patrick, its leader, had very similar insignia and jewels and regalia as just normal members of the club. And Mummy's special boys need special insignia, and that wasn't hierarchical or colonial enough for a crown-run organization. So they needed some sort of hierarchical one. So they broke up a bunch of the Queen's jewels, Queen Charlotte's old jewels, and created these crown jewels of Ireland. What a big deal. Now, the crown jewels were originally and normally kept in a bank vault. So there is a building in Dublin that's called the National Bank of Ireland. So it's the Bank of Ireland. And it is on the top of Dame Street. It's just across the street from Trinity. It used to be the Parliament building when it was built in, I think, the 1600s. I could be making that up. It has been the Bank of Ireland since 1803, so for quite a while. It changed over to the bank, and those jewels were kept in a vault in this bank, obviously. But in 1903, a bright spark from who knows decided we shouldn't put that there anymore. Let's relocate them. And they were moved to Dublin Castle, which is just down the road, down Dame Street. It's like literally a 5-minute walk from the Bank of Ireland. And you know, I know what you're thinking. Ooh, that's when the heist happened. That's when they swooped in, was during the transport of these priceless diamonds in a moment of weakness, when they are not in their normal, very safe, secured environment. And like in true Ocean's 11 style, when they're moving the jewels, that's when they make their move. But nope. There was no Robin Hood-esque figure grasping the jewels and redistributing them among Ireland's working class people or anything like that. This is purely a petty jewel thief experience. And it's not quite the heist that you might be thinking. This might very well be the funniest heist I've ever heard of. Because fortunately for us, the real story of this jewel heist is far, far stupider than we're giving it credit for. But so the jewels were relocated from the bank into Dublin Castle, and they were put into a safe in order to move it. But the safe was too big to fit into the strong room that they were originally going to keep the jewels in. And I assume because everything was handmade and took forever to make back then, they couldn't just go and get a different safe. Amazon delivery was not as poppin' back then as it is now. And so instead of putting it back into the bank vault, which is where the jewels had been safely held for a number of years, they decided, fuck it, we'll just put the safe in the library. And this is just step one on the stupidity waterfall that is about to happen. So they put it in the library, and there it stayed. And this is why I think that nepotism isn't great for running countries, because the people who were put in charge of the crown jewels and Dublin Castle and all of this chivalric nonsense, were not properly trained or vetted in order to do these jobs. It was just like given to them. Because listen to this. The person who they kept in charge of these crown jewels, the guy with the master key to this safe, really important job, not gonna lie. Like if you're a monarchy, surely the crown jewels of one of your big four would be like a thing that you would want somebody really trustworthy to do. But the person that they put in charge of this job was, and excuse my French, a fucking idiot. The Ulster King of Arms, Sir Arthur Vickers, was given the job of guarding and responsibility over these priceless gems. And when you hear the title, the Ulster King of Arms, Sir Arthur Vickers, you're thinking of like the most honorable person, probably. The guy with like military badges down his whole uniform and like great hair, you get it. But no, this was just a guy who was put in charge of it for who knows why? Who knows why? But I can't even describe to you. I have to just show you an excerpt right here because this is the website that I have. It's bbcnews.com. It says under his picture, Sir Arthur Vickers, pictured in 1902, was responsible for more than one security breach. And respectfully, that is the nicest way to say this guy should have never gotten this far. Okay, we all know one Sir Arthur Vickers, okay? I'm about to talk to you about this man, and we all know this guy. We've met him, we know him. His dad's rich, he got a job at his dad's company. He went to school in like a prestigious enough school and just skated by because his dad donated a bunch of money. And he like passed out on more than one couch. We all know Sir Arthur Vickers. And like he's kind of an overinflated frat boy, essentially, is what I'm getting, the vibe that I'm getting from, because he's part of this chivalric organization. He was given a bunch of responsibility and yet is in no way, shape, or form ready for that. Instead, he's more into passing out on the floor with a girl or two around him. You know what I mean? Which is like good for you, but don't put this guy in charge of the crown jewels. This is the kid that borrowed his dad's like Jaguar and then immediately wraps it around a lamppost and nothing bad happened to him. You know what I mean? That's the guy that we're dealing with. He also, by the way, remember that the crown jewels are stored in the library, in a safe in the library, used the library as his personal waiting room. His waiting room, which means that people were going in and out, people he did not know, who just wanted to speak to him, who wanted to have a meeting with this guy because apparently he's responsible for a lot of fucking things, just made the library his waiting room. You could, any other room not available? No problem. Because this Nepo baby, whose only credential is trust me bro, has somehow weaseled his way into a position of power and has made the place where the crown jewels are stored openly into his waiting room. Okay, so there we go. So he just let random strangers in and out of the room all day while simultaneously losing the keys to this safe all the time. It was said that he often just misplaced his keys to this safe always. And it's not just the crown jewels in there, it's a lot of other important stuff, including some of his personal belongings. And it was also said that he would just take out the crown jewels all the time and show them off like some sort of weird baby book or something. I don't know why I went with baby book. I'll edit that out in post. One time he even just locked himself out of Dublin Castle. Just like all together, just locked himself out. And he's guarding the crown jewels, by the way. Remember what he's guarding. I gotta count my stitches, I'm getting all worked up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 60, perfect. Okay, so here's a story about him, right? It said that he got drunk one time. Do your thing, king, you know, go off. But he got absolutely hammered with another lord, Lord Haddo. And allegedly, Lord Haddo, when this guy got drunk, when Lord Vickers got drunk, when Sir Arthur Vickers got drunk, hammered, he like takes out the jewels and shows them off. And so Lord Haddo takes them, obviously, because he's his mate and it's hilarious. And he sends them back to him via post. Just like in the mail, because that's fucking hilarious. And that would still happen today. Imagine you're going to a frat party, some guy's showing off his fucking Rolex that his dad bought him and he got for free. And then he passes out with the Rolex on the floor next to him. Obviously, I'm gonna take it and text him pictures of it in various situations. Taking a shit with your Rolex on. I'm on vacation with your Rolex on. I'm doing that all day. And also allegedly one time when he was getting hammered on overnight duty guarding these jewels, of course, he woke up with the jewels around his neck because somebody had broken in, taken them out of the safe and put them around his neck. That's how whacked out he was on whiskey or whatever he was drinking. I only say whiskey because it comes up later. I'm not stereotyping. Calm down.
Calm down, James.
So that is who is dealing with the crown jewels right now, are a bunch of proverbial 13-year-old boys and their alcohol. And so when I say heist and like heist of the crown jewels, it's less Ocean's 11 and more The Hangover, you know? Less National Treasure, more Animal House. And so this man, Sir Arthur Vickers, actually recently had quite a few security breaches around this time. So a polite way of saying he was not doing his job They were reported and ignored because that's boring and I'd rather get drunk with my friends than report a theft, a break-in. And so on the 6th of July, it's the 5th when I'm recording this right now, on the 6th of July, 1906. And so on the 6th of July, 1906, a office messenger went in to put something into the safe in order to deposit it and found just every servant's worst nightmare. The precious things that they are looking at are not there. They're just gone. They're just gone. Imagine you're clocking into work and you go to open the safe in like your retail job and all of the money is fucking gone. Bricking it. Absolutely bricking it. There was also some of Sir Arthur's own personal things missing and a few collars of some of the Knights of the Order. Truth be told, I could not find what collars they meant. I assume it's some sort of official regalia that they have to wear during ceremonies, a collar of some sort. But like I said, I couldn't find any pictures of these Order of St. Patrick collars. I'll try to find some and put them up here. If not, enjoy my face. And truth be told, when I heard collars, I was like, oh damn, it's that kind of secret society. But no, it's just probably like a badge or something boring. The things that were taken out of the vault were valued at around £300,000 in today's money, so quite a bit. And imagine you're Sir Arthur, right? You've passed out on the couch for the 17th time this week. You're just a frat boy living in 1906, born in the wrong century, really. Rest in peace, Sir Arthur Vickers. You would have loved 2007. Okay, but like you wake up, you've just had like the raunchiest night out. You wake up, you're hungover, and your servant's like, sir, they're gone. And you're like, I knew this day was coming. I am fucked. Like, you've got to be thinking, as Sir Arthur Vickers, I'm about to get fucked by the King of England right now. And that's exactly what happened. Because get this, not only were the jewels gone, there were no signs of forced entry, meaning that the person who broke into the vault had a key, which meant that Sir Arthur Vickers gave the thief the key to the vault. It was his fault that they went in the vault. The safe. It's his fault it was in the safe. And also, the timing of this theft was 4 days before the king and queen came to visit Ireland. King Edward VII and Queen Alexandra were set up to visit on the 10th of July and inaugurate, or rather, what do they call it? Invest this person into this organization. They're supposed to inaugurate somebody new into this organization, so they have to wear the crown jewels to be able to do that because the king is the sovereign of this organization, and they get stolen 4 days beforehand. Holy shit. You ever try to fix something and you know you can't? Like your mom's coming down the driveway and you did not defrost the chicken, so you're there with a hairdryer freaking out. That's what I imagine Sir Arthur Vickers is doing right now. And so there was supposed to be a new member invested into the order, like I said, so obviously this reeks of political scandal. The royal visit went ahead, but they couldn't invest this new person into the organization. So the king is livid. Apparently house staff were quoted as saying, I've never seen the king so angry, which, fair enough. And so this reeks of political scandal. Obviously. Stealing the crown jewels days before a royal ceremony, not only is it obvious, it's also a teeny tiny itty bitty eensy weensy bit fucking hilarious because you know the king is gonna be steaming. And like, honestly fair, you put somebody in charge of something and he's just a man-child that loses everything and passes out all the time. And not for nothing, but Ireland has always been kind of rebellious. There's always been rebellions in Ireland against the crown. And the fact that it was stolen was such a kick in the teeth for the royal family, probably, who were slowly but surely losing their grip on Ireland, mentally anyway. We are 10 years out from the 1916 Easter Rising, so tensions are definitely on the rise. So like, if you're the king and you're slowly losing your one colony that you've been able to hold on to for 800 years, and you're the king that gets the crown jewels lost in this colony, like, shit, man. And the king was probably feeling, I'm speculating obviously, that this was probably intentional and a direct attack at the crown. But the disconnect at the time between Ireland and the crown was growing, obviously. And like, to steal jewels, especially those affiliated with the British monarchy, it feels like the problem was only getting worse. That's what I'm imagining anyway. That's what I assume. Like I said, I wasn't there. Shut up. But like I said, just speculation. But yeah, the king was super mad because this was also a symbolic loss as well. It wasn't just you lost the crown jewels to a rebellious colony. This was symbolic. The crown jewels, the symbol of the monarchy in Ireland, one of the only symbols of the monarchy that's like present in Ireland, aside from fucking everything else, has been stolen. So yeah, the king was really, really mad. But I haven't even told you the petty part, because when the thief broke open the safe, in The place of the crown jewels was this little ribbon and clasp and 2 tiny little screws that they had unscrewed from the safe and put them in the safe, which was estimated to take around 10 minutes to do, which meant that the thief knew that they had ample time to get it done because they knew that Arthur Vickers was passed out drunk and useless, and that they had plenty of time to go in and get it, and that they were probably close to Arthur Vickers and close to this organization, because how else would they have gotten in, stuck around for 10 minutes, and replaced the crown jewels with a ribbon and a clasp and unscrewed things, because they were so close that they were trusted. This was a trusted individual, obviously, so clearly they were making Vickers look horrible. Didn't need any help from him, or the thief rather, but they were not helping matters. He wanted to make him look bad. And like, that honestly is so rude. So petty. So yeah, I stole the jewels from you, you petty, lush man baby. But that's not even the end of this incredibly juicy jewel heist story. Of course, there was a £1,000 reward, I'm just reading it off here, to those who could find the jewels, which is a lot of money, especially back then. And so there was some insanity that ensued, obviously. People who claimed to be psychic reported that the jewels were hidden in a graveyard. Which graveyard? Good question. I don't know. I didn't bother looking it up. But I do know that they dug up the graveyards and that there were no jewels. And so they are desecrating graveyards. Religion, huge at that time, still huge today, bigger back then, digging up these graveyards to find the jewels that are not there. And Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the author of Sherlock Holmes, I'm gonna read this off, was said to offer his help with the investigation, and this only makes sense because he's a cousin of Sir Arthur Vickers. Oh my god, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle offered to help his cousin out because he's like, hey, you useless fucking asshole, you want me to help you out? You want some help with that? Do you need me? And Arthur Vickers was like, no. And that makes 2 Sir Arthurs in this story.
Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
And it was believed that this story is what inspired the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle book, The Adventure of the Bruce Partington Plans, which is humiliating, by the way. Imagine making the worst mistake of your life, right? And your cousin, a famous, well-respected Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, makes a book about you and your dumbass mistake. Oh my god. How embarrassing. Oof. So now the theories of what actually happened. There's so many theories and all of them are so fucking cool. And by cool, I mean wild and out there. And so the newspapers, from what I've read, just started fucking slinging out libelous theories one after the other. The most popular one is that Sir Arthur Vickers, the guy who was in charge of it, had a mistress who was given a key to the vault by him and then made off with the jewels to Paris. And oh my god, if I'm not the scheming mistress of an aristocrat who gets away with stealing his jewels and heading off to Paris in the next life, simply do not reincarnate me. Simply do not, because that is the most exciting life I think I might have ever heard of. And I've done door-to-door sales. But Vickers also sued the newspaper for libel and won €5,000. So, you know, don't go spouting out random fucking theories just for the fun of it. This is a great time to say that everything in this episode is allegedly and that I don't know anything because I'm a silly little YouTuber and not an expert. And please don't sue me. I'm not worth it. Crazy theory number 2. That's right, there's more. The theory was that Sir Arthur Vickers was convinced that the thief was the brother of an Arctic explorer at the time, a very famous man at the time called Ernest Shackleton, and the brother, the one accused of stealing the jewels, was named Francis Shackleton, who was, and I quote, known for living beyond his means and for being in debt to loan sharks, and had a key to the safe. Who gives a man associated with loan sharks a key to the crown jewels safe? You could just be a man back in the early 1900s and do whatever the fuck you want, apparently. As long as you were like born into the right family. Like you were just born into a higher up family and you could be a total fucking idiot and still get a key to the jewel safe. Jesus. I'm so disappointed in the patriarchy. This is crazy. This is too much. The misogyny is one thing, but this is too much. You can't be giving random dudes keys to shit that don't deserve. Nonsense. Loan sharks. And what I'm hearing here is brother lives in Arctic explorer brother's shadow and steals crown jewels to maintain lavish lifestyle in order to appear more successful. That's what I hear. All while wearing Edwardian era garb and drinking cocktails called the King's Nipples or something while it's 90% absinthe with like botanicals in it or something, right? That sounds about right. Were botanicals invented? When were botanicals invented? Editing, Hannah, look that up. How steampunk flat cap gears penny farthings with botanicals, eh? Anyway, Vickers was so adamant that Shackleton had stolen the jewels. He kept insisting on his innocence, right? Protested his innocence so much that he annoyed the king, that the king dismissed him. He fired him. He got rid of him, not because he lost the crown jewels, but because he was so fucking annoying about his innocence that he had to be fired because he was bugging the fucking king so much. How annoying do you have to be that losing the only job that you had was not the problem, but your fucking shrill ass voice was the problem? Don't answer that, because I know I have a shrill voice and I know my accent's annoying. Leave the comments alone. He then spent, so Vickers, this is Vickers now. Sir Arthur Vickers, this guy, then spent the rest of his life as a recluse and then was murdered by the IRA. And that was a spin that I was not expecting in this story, all right? I didn't realize that this Nepo baby playboy, I wrote this down because I wanted to remember it. Fucking Nepo baby playboy rich kid idiot fucks up so bad by losing the crown jewels to his country, and fucks up so bad he gets fired and then the raw get him. Again, they don't make lives like they used to, okay? They don't make politicians and organization leaders like they used to these days. Swear to God, they're all just normal people having affairs now. Boring. Do something cool. Be a part of a jewel heist. Get involved with a domestic terrorist organization. I'm kidding. Again, these are all jokes. Please don't demonetize me. But his last will, right, Vickers' last will still blamed Shackleton and accused the Irish government of making him a scapegoat and ruining his life. That was in his last will and testament. And here's the thing, he might have been right. According to the article from BBC, it says researchers agree Shackleton might have been in cahoots to steal the jewels with his gay lover, Captain Richard Gorges. Captain Gorges? A gay lover called Captain Gorges in cahoots to steal the crown jewels of Ireland? We need this in a movie form immediately. I volunteer to play anyone. Like, this story is so juicy, holy shit. So the story goes that these two lovers plied Vickers with so much whiskey, he conked out keg stand style, and they then robbed the jewels off of them because they had a key. Because they were getting blackmailed into revealing that they were homosexuals, which was illegal at the time. Which is terrible. It's awful, and nobody should have to live like that. But especially this high-profile guy whose brother was the Arctic explorer, he was being blackmailed apparently, and then he was going to be giving the jewels as a blackmail to keep his secret that he was a homosexual. And this could be a threat to these men's lives, which is why they allegedly stole the jewels. But like, what a rush, what a story, and what a horrible thing if that's true. No, like I said, nobody should have to live like that. They were born in the wrong century. Anyway, you get it. But Shackleton was never convicted of the jewel theft, so there is no reason to believe that he did it. There's no evidence to it. But he was jailed in 1914 for handling a stolen check. So he's not the squeaky cleanest of characters in this story. But that is the story of this jewel heist and wild, outlandish theories that could actually be real. And that is so insane. What a high-profile thing that happened. It was scandalous at the time. It was one of the biggest scandals of that time period, but not many people know about it. At least I didn't know about it. Maybe people who were born and raised in Ireland, they definitely knew about it. But I brought this up to a couple of my friends and none of them knew about it either. And you're like, but Hannah, why? Why don't we know about this incredible story? And it's due to a little something you might remember called the War for Independence. We were 10 years out from the Easter Rising at the time, and alongside of World War I coming to a head, the newspapers quickly were drowned out by stories of war and rebellion rather than this jewel heist, which was fair enough. And with the political environment the way that it was, nobody wanted to add fuel to that fire of a jewel heist on top of that, which was steeped in political scandal and political, you know, symbolism and connection, right? Like, nobody wanted that to taint anything else, just adding fuel to the fire and potentially stoking more violence. And as the country started to enter the potentiality for home rule and rebel groups started making plans, and only 10 years later having the Easter Uprising start, it was quickly forgotten about and maybe even swept under the rug as to not ruffle any more feathers. That's what I wrote down. And so based on what I've seen from various jewel heist movies, clearly an expert on this, jewels are rarely kept together. Like the crown jewels, from what I know and from what I've read, people are hoping that they're still kind of intact and just hidden away somewhere. But chances are, and most likely, the jewels have been separated from each other out of the shape that they were in, or the brooch or the pin or the metal that they were in, and have been redistributed or sold separately from each other in order to make a profit on them. Because keeping them together in that shape obviously causes suspicion, people recognize them, and so it's not just about owning the crown jewels, it was probably about making a profit as well. And so reselling these jewels is easier when they're not looking like the stolen crown jewels of Ireland. So they were probably broken up and dispersed amongst many people. Honestly, that is the cool cherry on top of this wild story. Because hear me out, Irish people out there, people who are born and raised in Ireland, people who are Irish diaspora or have Irish ancestors of any way, I want you to think about your family heirlooms that you have with you and in your lives. Are they roughly 100 years old? Maybe your great-great-grandfather emigrated to America or Australia and he brought with him a handful of things, including one diamond, passed down from generation to generation. A necklace, a brooch, a ring, maybe your grandmother's engagement ring that was then your mom's engagement ring, that was then your engagement ring. How many brides have worn an heirloom that is actually the crown jewels of Ireland, unknowingly, unbeknownst to them, for the last 120 years? And are you right now wearing one of the Irish crown jewels? Are they in your ears right now? Is it on your hand right now? Is it dangling across your neck right now? You never take off this family heirloom. Is it a part of your family story? Are the Irish crown jewels, are the crown jewels of Ireland part of your family history? That would be fucking awesome. Anyway, thank you for listening. That was the end of this story. I know it's a bit of a quicker one, but that seemed to do pretty well last time, so I'm gonna try to shorten down a little bit and have the bigger stories be a little bit more long and a little bit more important, a little bit more thought out. But thank you so much for listening. That's the end of today's story. If you liked today's video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, tell me I look pretty, ask me questions, give me money, give me your firstborn child, up to you. If you didn't like today's video, please go ahead and handwrite a letter and send it to Dublin Castle, letting them know that I, Hannah Savita, have the crown jewels of Ireland, even though I learned about them 2 weeks ago. Thank you very much, love you guys, and I'll see you next time. I know I didn't get much crochet done, but I was just too excited about this story, so what a wild ride. Let me know what you think about it. Okay, bye, 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 bye. This is not Eva. You just want to make a video. The mailman is here. I might have to pause. Oh no. Please don't bark. Please don't bark. I'm freaking out a little bit. I hope the guy just goes away. Is this what being a YouTuber is all about? I'm not new to this, but I'm new to being regular at it. And I usually live in a city where people leave me alone. And now I'm worried that the mailman's gonna see me. He's got his headphones in, he's doing his thing. Oh, there he goes. Nice. We made it, folks. Oh, and just came online. He just realized that the mailman was here. I feel like I'm getting washed out by this light. Sorry. They had put them in a safe, and when they got the safe to... I miss my grand stretch in the evening. Goddamn. What society want men to wear, what men want to wear, what women want men to wear. You get it. I'm part of the Legit de Piquois collection. This is Owen, by the way. He's 487 years old.